Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is Nijisa and today's video is geared towards beginner players. We're going to focus primarily on frame traps after a opponent blocks your pressure option, right? So I know advanced players and intermediate player already know all this stuff, so this might not help you guys as much, but I will give you some tip that might actually help them as well. So okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the first one that I want to show you guys is for 3 into 1 plus 2. And when you hit this on block, make sure you understand I said hit it on block. They're -6 and they're put into crouch state. And you're also put into crouch states. So this allows you to go for a while rising 2 as a frame trap, right? That means that your opponent cannot interrupt you. They can hit you, but your launcher will also hit them because it's the exact same 16 frame unless they're like a Yoshimitsu or a character that has a faster than 10 frame move, right? Okay, so if you do this and they press anything, I'll show you as an example. If your opponent if you do this and you do while rising 2, right, and they decide to press anything, I'll show you guys here. Yeah, if I press something, I will just get hit, right? If I down crouch jab, it will look like this. So you will still get the launcher, right? So it's a great opportunity to use this and while rising 2, right? And that should be your primarily option to use, right? Unless they constantly guard it all the time, then that means that they're respecting your mid and your frames, right? So if they're respecting your mids and your frame, that's when you can utilize the low, right? So you can go from here and use the low. Just make sure you guys understand that this low is not a frame trap. So when you do go for this option, you only do it because they respect your frame, right? So for example, if they don't respect your frame, you will get hit like that. You guys see? But if they do respect your frame like this, then you can land that launcher and then do your combo, right? So those are the two options that are pretty useful. And then obviously the while rising 3 is really your go-to card in that scenario if you know you're worried about anything, because while rising 2 and while rising 3 will actually also beat out options that are moving, right? Like for example, if they are trying to get away from you by just stepping, that while rising 3 does track, right? So a reason why they would step would be like, for example, if you just do the generic mix, they will be able to get away from both of those, right? However, I'll show you guys a trick that will help you realign, right? So a trick here to help you realign, if you're looking for the realignment, just make sure you guys understand that means you're giving away your frames, right? So if you just stay put for a little bit, it will realign itself. Tekken has a bad habit of just realigning if you stay put for a little bit, right? So you guys can see there, you stay put for a little bit, and this works for both options, right? It will realign and you'll still get the mix, right? But just make sure you guys understand you do lose your frames, meaning they can just hit you. It doesn't mean that they cannot hit you. This is only if you're calling out they're walking you, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and move to the next one. Okay, next I'm going to show you guys the 1-2-1-4, right? 1-2-1-4. So you guys can see the inputs on the left side there, 1-2-1-4. So this gives you +4 on block, right? So what you can do on +4 on block, right? If they decide to press buttons, right? If they decide to press buttons, you can actually, I'll show you guys with this, right? If they decide to press button, for example, after 4 hits, if they decide to punish you, right? The example would be they would throw jabs, right? Let's just pretend they throw jabs. Jabs are like some of the fastest moves, right? So I'm gonna show you guys what happens, right? So this is what they're gonna do, right? Jab after you do 1-2-1-4. This is still your turn. You're at +4. So if they do decide to throw jabs, you can do the up 4-1-3-4, and this will get you a combo starter, right? So this is a great frame trap as well because it's really fast. It starts off at 10 frame, right? but just understand that this option can still be step. They won't be able to step you this way because up for one tracks that side. As you guys can see here, it tracks that side, which is weird because it used to track the opposite way if I remember correctly, but now it no longer tracks this way, right? Yeah, so obviously the countermeasure for this is back 2-2, right? So you can use back 2-2 to really cover your opponent's stepping game, right? And obviously if they duck, it's very simple. You just do the down 4-1-2. That's if they duck. So if they decide to duck, all the other options won't hit. For example, up 4-1 won't hit, back 2-2 won't hit, and your option, you can just do down 4-2 for the launch. And that's pretty simple right there, right? But just make sure when you do hit that on block, that is your turn. Okay? Okay, so another move that shares pretty much the same property is sidestep 4, right? Sidestep 3. So if you do sidestep 3, you're also +3, and it really just covers the same thing. You know, back 2-2 for the sidewalkers. You know, if they're crouching, down 4-2. If they press anything, just do up 4-1-2. Obviously, that won't beat out duck jab. So the only way to beat out duck jab in that scenario, duck jab, is this. You just have to do down 4-1-2. Okay? Okay, so for 4-2 also has the same +4 like sidestep 3 and 1-2-1-4. So you can pretty much fill in the blank with the frame trap as well. So okay, next we're gonna cover the +1 on block frame traps, right? So down 2 +1 and 1+2 +1, right? In this scenario, you're given very small space, right, to really utilize what you want to do, right? So that means that if you're gonna do a frame trap, it's either gotta be 4-2 into this, or maybe 4-1 1+2, which I think this is far more dangerous to use in this game rather than this option where it feels a lot more safe, right? So what will actually happen is if they block your option here and they decide to punish, we will see how it looks like. The opponent will press and it will look like that if you throw that out. But if you decide to frame trap this, you do get this for free, right? If they press, you do get this. And this works with this one as well, but just remember that it won't look right because it forces them to crouch, right? So yeah. So this will also work. So yeah, but it's, in my opinion, more dangerous because this one just feels faster and newer and more creatively, visually safer, right? In my opinion. Okay. Okay, so there are a few plus frames on block moves still, like running 3 and running 4, and 1+2 charge. These aren't that much of a big deal, but the one that if you do use for 4-4, it's a pretty interesting situation because if you go into duck, you will be +5. You can utilize the mix here, and I recommend that yes, you should just go ahead and go for while rising 2 and full crouch down 4-2 in this scenario. But if your opponent doesn't really respect you, you should still go for maybe while rising 1 or while rising 3 a little bit, right? But one thing in this scenario that is interesting is if you go into CJM, you're actually +6 instead of +5, which is a huge deal here, right? Of course, it does look like your opponent does move a little bit further back, but you will be able to frame trap hop kick here, which is only -13. It's not too bad, and the low is still 15 frame as well. It's also a good mix, so both of these would be frame trap. Just understand that going into down back 3 is launch punishable if they duck your high string, and going for the high option is probably your better odds because it's a less risk with high reward, whereas the other one is low rewards with high risk, right? Okay, and I think that's gonna sum it all up in this scenario, in this video. So hopefully you guys can learn something from that as a beginners and go ahead and use those kind of move, and hopefully it helps you guys out. Thank you and bye bye.